Hey gang, Dan from marginallyclever.com here. I'm going to take this robot arm model and I'm going to put it in my app today, and then I'm going to animate it, and that way you can copy my moves and do the same thing. This arm was designed by George Burnson. You can find him on Instagram and I'll put his tag right here. Now this model is made of 7 parts. You'll see them here. They're each named. There's anchor, there's X, Y, Z, U, V, and W. And each of these parts has an origin around their point of rotation, wherever that may be. Does that make sense? Now, what I want, in order for everything to work right, I want them all to be at this one point at the bottom. And you see the way forward is over here? See this plus X matches? That's positive X. And this up is positive Z. You want to match that for everything to go easy for you. So I've lined these all up in the right place. And I've also made sure that when I look at these in Blender, all those pink lines are pointing outward so that the design file correctly says which way is out on these parts. You could go to the faces and recalculate normals. That would be select all faces and normal recalculate outside. You could also average face areas to get a slightly smoother look sometimes. Now, if I want to take one of these model parts and export it, there's a few rules here as well. That part was the W part, and I want to make sure I have selection only so that only that part goes out, and I want to make sure to triangulate faces, and then I want to make sure that Z is up and X is forward, and I want to repeat that for every part in the design. So we're going to skip ahead a little bit here. Fortunately, if you set them up once, it just runs after that. There it is. And one more. Fantastic. So that's all done. Now we're in Robot Overlord. As it stands, this is version 1.6.0. This is the 62 robot, and I don't need it because I'm adding something new. I'm going to add a DH Builder app. Who knows, maybe by the time this is released it will have a new name, something that makes more sense. I'm going to find those Rochely files that I just exported and double check everything looks like it's turned the right way. I could save that. And now we need to explain to the software the location of each of the rotation points. You and I understand it, but the computer needs to be told because it's kind of special like that. Here I've already calculated them so you can see the principle. You get 4 values, theta, alpha, D, and R. And the goal at each of these joints is so that the center is on the line of rotation for the next bone, and the blue line here, the Z axis, is also along that line. So briefly, you see this one matches because it rotates through that point. This, all it does is turn to face up, and it's going to rotate around here. This rotates at the joint above. I suppose it could have been turned to face this way. Same thing. And this way. And then finally, the point at the tip where we want to grab things. So most arms will probably follow the same basic pattern with a few numbers difference, for size. But that's essentially it. Once you've got these all set up, you can save them out to the same folder that you had your Rochely files in. You can see here if I sort by type, I've got my description files, I've got my model files, the material files if I want to have texture on them and so on. Oh, I should mention, in each of these there's also a range minimum and maximum. So when George Burnson sent me these files, he said, oh, by the way, here's my limits. So this should be minus 100, 175. I'm going to go through here quickly and do these all up. So let's save that. And now I can go start test. I can move it with both forward kinematics, and I can choose the end effector and use inverse kinematics to move this pretty much any way the robot wants to go. And you can see it changes color as it gets near its limits, so you don't go too far. And I can turn off the snap for even smoother motion. With this, I hope more people can build open source robots, and we can use them to help people who have to deal with COVID in their daily lives, work safely remotely from a distance. Let's get on this. It's an important project, and we all need to help each other. My name is Dan, and I'll see you next time.